everyone's looking for the young guy. They're looking for McVay. I think take a shot out Todd Bowles, get him a second shot at head coach, and see if he can do it.
I don't think they will. If they don't have Anthony Davis, I'm saying it right now. If Anthony Davis is out for the playoffs, they don't make it out of the first round.
It's crazy. And our kids will know how great Tom Brady is because he's going to be playing.
Yes, it is 15.0%.
That's what the Yankees brought Garrett Cole to do.
He was a 6th-round pick. This is a fairy tale story that's being written in front of our eyes.
People like to call them their JV team, and they just stole one of their better players.
They didn't struggle against the Padres. The Padres didn't really put up a fight in most of the games.
Jerry Jones, hope you're listening.
Hi, I'm Landon Bowe, and you're listening to Outsiders Opinions with Kevin and Austin.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to our NFL Opinions of the Week. I am Kevin, and I'm joined by the man that I believe has already finished receiver, Austin.
I'm actually not finished. I have 2 more episodes to go, Kevin.
All right, so
but we won't talk about those ones that I haven't seen. So I'll let you kind of lead this a little bit because I don't want to spoil anything. But it's been good thus far.
It's been very good. This is the first time we're kind of reviewing a documentary. We talked about Hard Knocks a few days ago, but I love quarterback, and I'm liking wide receiver. Both of us have watched the first 4 videos or episodes. And so we'll just cover that. If you're watching it along with us, there will be spoilers ahead. So watch the first 4, then come back. I would say I was thinking maybe an episode by episode breakdown. I really liked the first 2 episodes because that was basically the introduction. I would like to say I love how it gets players' personalities, even though I would say George Kittle and Amon-Ra kind of scare me a little bit because Amon-Ra, like, he's a great player. It's just the mentality he has where I'm like, wow, that is someone who's very dedicated. The story of having a list of everyone drafted before him that he reads every day before practice.
I respect it. Amon-Ra is a great player. He's extremely dedicated, and he has a good system around him. I do think that's why he's so successful. This is not just a spoil thing really for anybody, but he says in episode 1, Kevin, that his goal is 1,500 yards and 10 touchdowns, and he had 1,500 yards, like 1,510 and 10 touchdowns on the year. That sort of goals, your mindset. I mean, George Kittle says that he likes to speak things into existence. He'll say, "I will be back. I will be back. I will be back," and that's something I can respect. I think that level of self-belief is the reason why they made it this far, and I definitely appreciate their dedication. There's definitely some players I like more than others that are on this show. Players I've learned to like less, players I've learned to like more. But we can kind of get into that after you. Share some more thoughts.
I respect how, like, that is how they got here. It's just, to me, like, that is some of the players that are in the NFL. Like, that's just how they get fuel. And George Kittle, to me, he probably embodies a tight end because you can see him just making blocks, and you're just like, man, he really loves football. And I can definitely get the idea, like, they're sort of crazy, but it's the kind of crazy
I don't even think it's all that crazy. It's crazy to the average person, Kevin, because the average person doesn't have that level of confidence or discipline.
Well, I'm talking about the craziness of he's loving getting hit and hitting people.
He loves what he does.
Yes.
There's people who like that. It's because he's getting into the game. It's getting into his system. Hey, it's football. Yeah, I love it. It's fun.
Yeah, no, I love that for him. It's just something that I never expected Amon-Ra. Maybe I sort of expected it from George Kittle. But the story of Amon-Ra, I love it. And I've had him on a lot of fantasy teams. But that was something that stuck out to me. Justin Jefferson's a little bit more my speed. I loved him talking about candy. And he's like, I just eat candy. And then he talked about
my favorite thing about Justin Jefferson is him dealing with his injury. He's like, I want to be on the field. They're like talking on the radio, oh, he may not come back. I'm gonna come back if I can, and that's my type of mentality right there. I want to be on the field, right? That's the mentality I want to have from all the players that are on my teams, and I really do like Jefferson. It's interesting, like kind of his family dynamic, because I was watching the show with my dad, and there's a point where his mom says, "You got to get 2 touchdowns today, so you can show your new dance or whatever." And my dad's like, "No pressure, right? No pressure. Your mom's telling you got to score 2 touchdowns." And okay, sure, but it is fun watching these players kind of have interactions outside of football, because each person I think is different off the field. While Kittle, yeah, maybe a little bit hardcore, crazy in game, I don't think I necessarily see that outside when he's just with family or something like that. He's not overly hardcore outside of football. I mean, they show that he's making s'mores. He's just having fun. So you got to get in that type of mentality to play a contact sport where it's going to be like, I like it. The way he speaks it, he said before, you have to say you're not hurt, right? You have to say, I'm fine. It's up here. You got to say, I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. Even when you're not good. I'm almost certain that he doesn't like getting hit. He just is saying, I like getting hit. I love it. Because then he'll love it. Not because he actually does, but because that mentality of I like it, I like it, I like it, I like it will make it affect you less. Which is the mentality you have to have in a sport where you can get seriously injured.
Yeah, and that's something that it's just kind of shows you what is needed from a top tier athlete in a professional sport like the NFL. I do like how the show, because all the players are dealing with injuries. Jefferson's been out. They talked about Amon-Ra, how he had to miss a game, and he actually tore his oblique off the bone. It's different because we both watched quarterback. It's different than quarterback to me because they talked about getting hit and how they deal with it, but it's seeing the players get hurt and how they keep playing, and then it's just a different type of, to me it's displayed differently.
I think I get what you're saying, but if we go back to Kirk Cousins and in quarterback, his ribs were seriously messed up. He had multiple broken ribs and was still playing through and getting hit and getting hit and getting hit. So yeah, I see what you're saying. They're different injuries, and players have different ways of dealing with it. But I do think they were properly displayed, and quarterbacks do get hit a lot as well. I know they don't get hit as much as running back or basically any other position besides punters or kickers, but they do get hit and hit hard. But it's hard to play any position.
Yeah, it wasn't a knock on quarterback. It was just something I noticed where I'm like, it was a different way of focusing, and it may have just been a lot of Jefferson, and it was out for an extended period of time. They didn't expect that. But I like how they talked about it. My favorite thing was kind of Debo. He also got injured, but I liked the interaction between him and the physical therapist when she's doing something to help promote growth, and he is just not happy with it at all.
It's that realism that you need to feel to really appreciate and like the show, and I do think he displays that. He was a little bit of a baby there, but all of us are, right? All of us have those moments where they're whether it's going to get shots at the doctor or going to the dentist, all of us have that one thing that we're just I don't like it. Well, you need it. No, I don't like it. It's funny. It's good. It's good hearted, and yeah, Debo does display that there.
Yeah, and I do like how they both have Debo and Kittle, and they're able to talk about them. And you see the interactions. That was something you saw, the interactions, because you had the Lions versus Raiders. You had, was it Lions versus? No, it was Niners versus Vikings. And just kind of, you see the players, they don't really interact, but that was just something cool where I'm like, okay, it's seeing the dichotomy of both teams from the receiver's perspective.
Yeah, I completely agree.
And then another thing is,
well, let me ask you this first. Sorry. How do you feel about Davante Adams? I was kind of soured on him during this entire first half because he's kind of preying on his team's downfall almost. He doesn't really like how their system works, and I don't think he's bringing the best confidence to the locker room. I think that The way he was kind of treating his teammates was not the best. The way he was treating coaching staff's not the best. And whether you think Josh McDaniels is a good head coach or not, you still got to give your coach the best chance for victory, in my opinion. You got to do everything you can to try to help them win because they're trying to do the same for you. They're not bad on purpose, right? It's not personal. They're trying to win games. And Davante was complaining when they were 2-2 or 3-3. Like that's fine. He was complaining after winning back-to-back games. Both of the games he was complaining afterwards, not getting the ball enough, not liking how the team was played. I'm like, you won the game. I don't really know what you're really mad about. Like you could, hey, guys, we need to get tuned in. We got to score more points. I think that on this set, I was open here. So maybe next time, throw it to me. But not like I need the ball every play. I don't. And he says at one point, I really do think this is the first 4 episodes. If it's not, I apologize. But I think he says, I don't care about winning. I just care about personal greatness. Yeah. That's, if you know me, Kevin, that is the utter and complete opposite of what I feel and how I like my players to think and how their attitude should be. So while I still like Davante and I really appreciate everything he did for the Packers, he was the best wide receiver I've seen the Packers have in my lifetime. I do think his mentality is not where I'd want it to be for a player on my team.
Yeah, I liked how they display that because they have the quote of greatness, then they have others like random tweets, and I like how they incorporate shows into it in just talking heads giving their opinions, and that kind of gives the viewer context. I didn't really sour on him. I think they did a great job showing his perspective because you can see his anger, and the quote, you're like, well, you're kind of winning, dude. And then you can also understand, like, they show him missing passes. But I liked how I just got to the part in episode 4 where they've switched coaching staffs.
But he kind of, if you remember a quote from that episode, they asked him about Aiden O'Connell, and he says, "I signed off on it." They were asking who's going to be signing quarterback, and he said, "I signed off on it." That again, that's I don't know, man. That makes it seem like he's more important than the team, right? He doesn't feel like a teammate at that point. I think that's why, and we'll go to the NBA really quickly. The Lakers are struggling to sign players, and I think that's part of the reason is LeBron. Not because LeBron's not a great person, but because when he's a teammate, you are a asset. You're not a player. You could be traded at any point. He's the GM. You don't feel like his equal. And that's what I kind of got soured on there. I feel like as a team, I don't think Brady ever made someone feel like they weren't his equal. While, yes, you can be a backup quarterback and technically you're worse than me, it doesn't mean I can't treat you the same. And that is definitely not how I feel like Davante was treating other people or necessarily how he thought he should be treated. He thought, I'm the guy, throw me the ball. I don't care if I'm open, throw me the ball. Throw me the ball. And while I love the confidence, I don't like how it was portrayed or how he said it.
Yeah, it definitely shows his disgruntlement, and I wouldn't be like that in his situation, but you can also see, like, that's his ideas, and then you can see, I liked how you saw it with his wife. His wife was complaining. She was like, "Oh, they're not giving him this. Oh, that's a bad pass." So to me, it kind of showed the effect of the family and kind of the effect a family member can have on Davante, because I'm sure they talked about that at home, even though it's not about the show or it's not included in the show. I'm sure he complained, and you actually heard it complaining about it to his daughters. He was like, he actually scored 20 points.
Yeah, so, I get what you're saying. It's just I contrast that with Jefferson. That's like, I want to be on the field. Mm-hmm. He's like, well, the radio guy's like, well, the Vikings could be bad and not be that great, and then what happens here? Is he going to try to come back, or is he just going to sit out the rest of the year and try to get a contract? And Jefferson's like,
I'm playing.
If I can be on the field and be healthy, I will be on the field 100%. And that mentality, I love it. There's no better mentality in sports, and so my respect and admiration towards Justin Jefferson is definitely increased. It helps that he has a little bit of a, like you said, a candy stash, and he's human. He's definitely not perfect, and no one is. But I do really respect that from him, because that's how I think everyone should be able to play. Hey, we're not a good team, and so I'm just going to stay injured, or I'm just going to stay on the IR. No, That's not how that should be. You should try to bring your team back into the playoffs. And that's what he tried to do. Obviously, we know how last season ended, but I can respect the effort.
Yeah, and I would say with Devontae, you could see just the attitude he had with McDaniels, and I haven't got to the part to see if it soured, but the first game they talk about, he's like, I'm not really used to blocking. I think that's what he was referring to, and just running the ball, but he's like, it worked, and I'm happy with that. And you could see just the level of buy-in he got, or Antonio Pierce got him to do. So that was something I liked. It wasn't like he didn't change his attitude. It was just an effect of the coaching change. So
Yeah, but
um,
he's like right now he's like, I don't care if we run the ball.
yeah,
But just looking at prior stuff, you don't know if that's actually right. I mean, it's a lot of people like new things sometimes. That people just want change because they don't like a guy, so they're going to say whatever is new is better than what it was with the guy they didn't like. So you'll have to see how that ends up turning out. And but yeah, I do think it's interesting seeing the difference between like a Kittle and a wide receiver. Kittle talks about how much he loves to block and how he looks at it, and it screams how much importance that he has that the average fan does not realize. I think that Kittle was definitely the best player of the five that's shown, just because he impacts the game on every play he's on the field, because he's insane. There's a reason why he was my number one tight end. Does he have technically better receiving stats than Kelsey every year? No, but Kelsey cannot block like Kittle can, and it's a great team aspect. I guess Jefferson is probably better than Kittle. It's just last year he was hurt, so his impact wasn't felt. We'll have to see how that comes back. One thing I would like to say about the injuries, though, is you're completely right regarding the amount. I did not expect. I was talking to my dad about it. I'm like, wow, they get hurt. It is every week usually that they're dealing with something. And again, I definitely do respect the position. It's a tough one to play, especially when you're a guy like Jefferson or Amon that wants to be on the field so bad. You're like, I have to be out there. I have to be. Well, no, there's the training staff has to save them from themselves.
Mm-hmm. And they talking about Devontae too. They gave him the choice of like taking that. I want to say it was like a steroid shot, and he was like, "Yeah, I'll do it." But that was up to them, and just kind of what they do. And maybe it's more publicized with like quarterback injuries, but you don't really like Jefferson's was publicized, but I had no idea about Amon-Ra's injury. Kittle, he has a shoulder sleeve, but that hasn't been discussed, or I don't remember that being discussed.
He's been playing with that for a while. I think he
okay.
injured it a couple of years ago and just decided that he didn't want to hurt it again.
Okay. And yeah, that's something I just love about the show is they really, I don't know how they do it, but they do a great job of just getting the players to be very vulnerable and explain stuff. And maybe it's because it's published after the season, but also I love just the level that you can see with the family, because I love the Kittle dynamic with his wife and talking about how he gets refreshed, just like going to a house, and then the s'mores scene. And then Amon-Ra's dad's pretty funny because he was like, he's got to drink Coca-Cola. He's got to drink Coca-Cola when he was dealing with that disease and trying to kind of get him up. So that's something I just love about the show. And I'm excited to see how the next 4 episodes go for me.
Yeah. I still have a couple to go as well. So we will reconvene when we finish. And I'm excited to see how the season closes out as well.
Yeah, it's going to be very fun. I'm very excited. And hopefully y'all enjoyed this. Let us know what your thoughts. Let us know if you want us to do more documentaries. We appreciate you listening and appreciate all the feedback. Thank you for listening to Outsiders Opinions.